The latest report on executive gender diversity shows the number of women on company boards is falling. The head of the Australian Institute of Company Directors, which compiled the numbers, says it should serve as a wake-up call to directors, investors and shareholders. Here's Claire Braund from Women on Boards. Hi Claire, you must be disappointed with these results.
Look, we are disappointed, Ros, but it's not surprising really, because you have to remember that the call is in fact 30%, and so when you've got a target of 30%, you're actually only, and the ASX 200 has in fact achieved 29.5%. It's not surprising that in fact companies are falling short. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to have to set a target for closer to 40%. If you aim high, it's in our experience people will in fact strive to reach that.
So by how much have numbers or percentages of women on boards fallen overall, and why?
Well, actually, they haven't much. This is only the ASX 200, and the ASX 200 is now measuring 29.5%, down 0.2% on a 30% target. Government, which is sitting at around 50% across all of its boards at state level, pretty much all of the governments have in fact achieved that. Superannuation is in fact kicking above 30%. Sports boards are too. So really, I suppose it's the business community across the ASX that are in fact letting the side down when it comes to the numbers of women on boards. And when you get beyond the ASX 200, it gets really, really low. So there really needs to be a continuing focus. But I think what we need to be doing is developing strategies to say, look beyond the existing non-executive director pool and CEOs and C-suites. Look at women who've got big international experience. Look at women across really senior levels within government. Look at women across who have really senior roles within the third or not-for-profit sectors, and start to broaden the pool from which people are being considered for these ASX roles.
And how much, Claire, are female board numbers seen as a bellwether for gender diversity more generally in society? We are, after all, talking about the top end of town, aren't we?
Absolutely. On the ASX 200, you've probably got some roughly 1,300 to 1,350 positions, of which are probably filled by around 800 people. So you can get them all in a very large room. But as a bellwether, what we really need to be looking at more broadly are statistics from the Workplace Gender Equality Agency, which track the number of women in key management roles, and I suppose the closing of things like the gender pay gap. We also need to be taking account of major reports, particularly ones that have come out this week, which look at the amount of stress that in fact middle income professionals are experiencing, both male and female, at work. And so we need to be looking at the ecosystem and the organisations and how we think about and manage those in order to enable people to be able to not only step into sort of meaningful professional or meaningful trade related careers, but to then think about moving through to boards. Because I think while everybody's working hard, while everybody's stressed, and while there's just a total focus on moving through people at particular level in a talent pipeline through to the top, and not, I suppose, thinking more broadly and perhaps being a bit more disruptive in our thinking, then we're going to continually have these sorts of stats. But as I said before, let's set it at 40%. We can certainly achieve that for boards because so few people are in fact on boards. It's a very strategic, focused. It's a group of people who have excellent skills, but I do think that we need to be perhaps reconsidering the pool of people that we're drawing the talent for our boardroom from.
And just really quickly, Claire, you're a non-executive director of Women on Boards in the UK. What's the picture on this there, briefly?
Women on Boards in the UK is pretty good. It tracks pretty much as far as Australia goes, although I notice on the FTSE 100 they are ahead of us, and so they seem to be doing particularly well there. But again, they have very similar issues because, of course, it's a very similar space. So women and men, again, have very similar issues in relation to work, and we have similar issues in the lack of transparency around the recruitment process, which is the other thing that could be really improved when it comes to moving women through to those key board roles.
Claire Braund, thank you.
Pleasure.